Guys, welcome back to Lexlistens. If you're new here, my name is Alexa. Today we are doing the Lexlistens Q&A. This is probably the second or third one I've done. I did one a little over a year ago at this point. It was quite a while ago. But today we are doing another one. I have some questions pulled up from you guys. I'll put them on the screen as I'm reading them just so you know what the questions are. But just a heads up that I did not prepare my answers. So this is just whatever I'm feeling at this very moment, but hopefully it's all pretty accurate. We're gonna kick it off with a good one. Who are your current biases for the groups you have checked out so far? And in order to do that, because I feel like I've checked out a lot of groups, I am gonna pull up my YouTube quick just so I can make sure I don't miss anybody. I don't think I will, but I don't want to. And this is in no particular order. I'm just gonna kind of start from like the first groups that I checked out and then work my way up. So from BTS, my bias is Jimin. Big Jimin fan over here. Love that boy. From Blackpink, my bias is Rosé. Obviously, like for all of these groups though, I just love the whole group. It's not that, you know, they're just my bias, you know. TXT, Yeonjun. I got a thing for Yeonjun. You'll see a pattern here. I like a lot of either singer-songwriter types or voice, like unique voices, or dancers. Those are my like three criteria that I seem to like gravitate towards, especially the dancers. For ENHYPEN, it's Nicki. Stray Kids is Han. Then we got G-Idol. G-Idol's been a really hard one for me because first of all, I really do feel like I like them all equally of the people who are still in the still members of the group. So in that way, I would say I was like OT5. But if Soojin was still a member of the group, then my bias would be Soojin. And I just don't have a doubt about that. From like all of the things that I've seen with Soojin in it, it's just like my eyes naturally like gravitate towards her, which is like kind of my signal that I feel like she is my bias. But since she's not in the group anymore, it's just, I think I'm a little biasless. I just love them all equally. For LE SSERAFIM, I feel like my bias is probably Yeonjun. I don't really know what it is yet. And I haven't filmed the reaction to their album yet, which I am filming this week. So we'll see if it changes. That one is not set in stone yet, for sure. That one's still a little like, you know, I'm feeling the waters out at this point. But I'm leaning towards Yeonjun at this point. XG, I would say I don't know. They are all so fantastic. I could not narrow it down at this point. I've gone back and forth. Like for a second there, I thought maybe like Jiren was my bias, but then like the vocal line of XG just really like hits me in a spot that I can't explain. I just really can't decide. So I feel like I'm really just waiting for XG to release like either like a full album or just more music in general. There still is one song that I haven't checked out by them, so I'll definitely check that out. But I feel like I just need more in order to fully comprehend who my bias will be for that group. But they're all fantastic choices for biases. Baby Monster obviously hasn't debuted yet, but I've done a ton of videos on them because of their whole series that they've had. So I feel like when it comes down to it, I need to see their debut, But the two people that I'm leaning towards as biases are either Rora or Ruka. So I'm like a Roruka combo at this point. I have a hard time deciding. I'm really drawn to Rora's voice and her tone, and especially like seeing where that can evolve as she actually grows into her voice. I just feel like it has so much potential. And then Ruka, there's just something about her. I just love her. Something about her I just love. I can't explain. So I haven't really decided, but I feel like for me, it's either Ruka or Rora. Mamamoo is the last group that I've checked out. And for Mamamoo, I'm leaning towards Solar. I did see them live in concert, and that video is coming out this week on my vlog channel, actually. So if you want to check it out, it's just Alexa Jefferson. But seeing them live kind of confirmed for me that Solar is my bias, and I was just kind of like unsure. I'm like, I don't really know. It's a newer group to me. Like, I'm not really sure. But then when I saw them live, I'm like, I'm certain it's Solar. Solar's the one for me. So, but they're all obviously fantastic, and Hwasa wrecks me every single day of my life. So hopefully that was a good explanation of all of the biases of all the groups, you know. All right, next question. Next one says, "Hi Lex, is there some genre / kind of music you'd like to discover more about and haven't had the chance yet? Sending you hugs." Hearts. That's so sweet. I would say, obviously my channel has a lot of K-pop on it, which is okay. I love K-pop, but something I would really love one day, maybe as I float through the K-pop world one day, maybe I can like put some in there, but I really like Spanish music. I went through a huge phase way before I was into Korean anything. I went through a huge phase in high school and college of listening to a lot of Spanish music, and I had a playlist specifically that I would always listen to. My favorite song is La Bicicleta with Shakira and Carlos Los Vives, I believe. But I just went through a huge phase, and I would love to listen to some more Spanish music because something about it makes my day better. I don't even know how to explain. Like, it just lifts me up a little bit. Do I have any solo artists that I follow? In terms of Western artists, yes. Like, obviously my number one is Taylor Swift. I love her, but I don't really strongly gravitate towards anybody else. Like, I listen to a lot of different solo artists from the Western side. As of K-pop solo artists, not really. I've heard a lot of one-offs, kind of like features from solo artists, like IU with Suga or August D. And I've heard a lot of BTS's solo stuff and just solo stuff that was kind of one-offs or a couple songs from people who are actually in a group, but I have not listened to any solo artists yet. I do think that one day I will work some in because I would especially IU. When she collaborated with August D, I just really liked her voice, and I thought it was very soothing and sweet a little bit and just pure, and it had a lot of clarity to it. So I would love to check out IU one day, but I haven't had the chance to yet. Obviously, the more people and groups that I add to my repertoire, it's the more I have to keep up with. Hopefully that makes sense. So when I add more people in, I have to be making a conscious decision that it will add a lot more to my list of things that I have to check out. Hopefully that all makes sense. What do you like about K-pop the most? I feel like what I like about K-pop the most is it checks all of my boxes. And I know that sounds, I don't know, just very vague. But something that I really like about K-pop is they do it all. They have the visuals, they have the outfits, they have the dancing, they have the singing, they have especially a lot of the groups I follow, the songwriting or the producing. I feel like when you look at an artist that can do all of those things and do them really, really well, it's just mind-blowing to me, which is why I feel I dove so headfirst into K-pop, because it just, when something checks all my boxes, I'm here for it. That is my thing. I'm down. So that's the thing I feel I like the most, is that I'm never left that was a boring performance. It's never boring. It doesn't matter what the group is. Doesn't matter. It's never boring. It is always bringing something to the table. And I really like that about K-pop. Do you have a bias wrecker in BTS? And if you do, who is it? Okay, so it's a little complicated here. So my bias in BTS is Jimin, and it's very strongly Jimin. It never wavered. From the moment I decided it was Jimin, it was Jimin. However, I consider myself to have a co-bias of Suga. And the reasoning for that is just something about him, especially his rapping, his songwriting, I just gravitate towards. So Jimin is my ultimate bias, and Yoongi's right here. That's how I feel. So I don't even consider Yoongi to be a bias wrecker. I just consider him to be my second bias. If I had to choose a record at this point in my life, it would be Jungkook. And the fact that it is quite shocking to me because for so long, he was just a little baby in my eye. And then one day you know the video, you know. And after that, I never was the same, I never was the same. And I think it actually got worse. Like I got like an illness that just kept developing. So definitely JK, definitely JK. Yeah. Do you have any future content ideas about K-pop that you are planning to do? Yes. My list of ideas in terms of this channel and just in terms of in general is astronomical at this point. It cannot even be quantified. Like I can't tell you like that I have 50 things because I probably have more than 100, 200 ideas. It's just a matter of fact that I don't have enough time in the day to do them all. I think the major things that I try to focus on when it comes to content on this channel that I try to focus on are being able to understand a group fully, if that makes sense. For example, like an artist with a very large discography is going to take up a lot of more time and videos, etc., etc. And I want to be able to do that and not rush through it. But then some artists don't have as much. So I don't even know if I'm making sense at the moment, really. But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of my future ideas revolve around the artists that I'm currently checking out. I do really like I've been to a ton of concerts lately, and I think that is so fun. I really like the idea of like a series of like, I did one on Blackpink, for example, but like my experience, like, is it worth it type of series, I think is really fun. But also like one day when I'm older, I guess, I would love to just do some series that are kind of like one-offs about just the K-pop industry or about specific artists or answering like your burning questions. I don't even know. I have a million thoughts in my head. At this point, I'm planning it out. Like I have a content calendar that I've been using that I'm trying not to flash to the camera. But if you look at my content calendar, there are like 2 or 3 days out of the entire month that I'm not uploading something somewhere. So I'm full of ideas. It's just more so about the amount of time that I can actually allot towards those ideas. I will be right back. I believe my husband is home, so I'm going to let him in. I will see you guys later. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm sorry. I forget why I had to leave last time, but it is a completely different day. We're back with the Q&A. I just have a few more questions left, and I thought I'd answer them very quickly today. I believe where I left off was this question. It says, do you have a new group that you are planning on checking out anytime soon? And the short answer is yes. The longer answer is this month, June. I made myself like a little content calendar for June, and I'm planning on checking out ATEEZ. I've gotten so many recommendations. A lot of people in my Discord really like them, and I actually on TikTok I saw like a little snippet of like their new single. I think it's called Bouncy. And I really enjoyed it. So I am planning on checking out ATEEZ this month. ATEEZ is one that I've been wanting to check out for a long time, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. And then I think I'm gonna be laying low on the adding new groups thing for a little minute here. Hold on, my cat is struggling. One second. As I was saying, I think I'm gonna be laying a little bit low after ATEEZ because I have added a lot of groups within the past like 6 months. Like I feel like I've added like Baby Monster, I've added Mamamoo, I've added like Le Sserafim, I've added like so many different groups, G Idol. Like it feels like I've started to reach my capacity for now. Once I maybe like catch up or like know an entire discography of one artist, I might feel a little bit less behind in general. But right now I feel like I'm kind of operating on max, where it's like I have only heard a couple of songs from some of these groups. I haven't heard all their albums. I don't really know enough about them yet. So I just feel like I really need to focus on the groups that I'm wanting to focus on right now and then start adding more once I get to that point. For ATs, I feel like I'm making an exception for them because I'm just really intrigued. However, I know like there's a bunch of groups that are on my list right now that like eventually I'm hoping to get to. The ones that come to mind just off the top of my head are 17, New Jeans, Dreamcatcher. There's like a bunch of girl groups that I haven't checked out that I really would like to. Red Velvet, Twice. Like there's a lot, you know. I thought I wasn't gonna ever check out Twice because I thought they weren't my vibe, but now I'm kind of thinking they might be my vibe and I might be okay with it. So I might check out Twice eventually as well, but I'm thinking my plan, I'm gonna add ATs into the mix, then I'm gonna focus on kind of what I have probably until November or December, and then maybe at the beginning of next year add more people in. But my goal right now really is just to get through a ton of the content of the groups that I have that I haven't heard yet. Especially some of the groups that don't have a lot. I feel like those are groups that I could really get almost basically their whole discography done. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my thought process. Another question, what did you study in college? So I went to college, it's kind of complicated, but I started as an undeclared major when I was a freshman, and I decided halfway through my freshman year that I wanted to go for business. So I decided to get my degree in accounting. Halfway through my sophomore year, I realized that business was really boring. And although I was extremely interested in like the business concepts of like owning your own business, accounting, like things like that. But the other half of it was just not my thing. And I felt like the way I envisioned my future, I would just not be happy living like in a cubicle life, if that makes sense. So that's when I decided that I would switch my major. I couldn't switch straight to biology. I had another option, which was natural sciences, which would allow me to basically pick and choose the classes I wanted and not have to be so strict like the biology major is. And it didn't add any semesters to my 4 years. It just was exactly the same as normal. So yeah, I decided to go for that. And so my degree is in natural sciences, but I have a minor in business administration. So yeah, that's my degree. I'm a science girly. I work in a lab now, so I'm very sciencey. That sounded very smart of me to say. Very sciencey. So I think that's it for today. That's the list of my questions. If you guys have any other questions, you can leave them down below and I'll try to answer them in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye guys.